She was just 15, a quiet girl with a soft spot for horses and a protective love for her 2-year-old nephew. She waited for her ride outside Concord High School on a cold January day in 1968 and was never seen again. 1 month later, that same nephew turned up dead, and the only person connecting them both, a man who never answered for her disappearance. What really happened to Janis, and did someone silence her before she could speak up? This story begins in Concord, New Hampshire, a quiet town tucked in snow, where life in 1968 moved slow, like the churn of an old country song. 15-year-old Janis had recently transferred to Concord High. She wasn't the kind of girl who stood out in the halls, soft-spoken, polite, more at home with animals than crowds. Janis grew up in Warner, the youngest daughter in a large working-class family of 9 children. She spent her time at the 4-H club, riding horses and helping out at a local stable. She was dependable even at her age, especially when it came to her baby nephew, Richard. At the time of her disappearance, Janis lived in a small trailer with her sister-in-law, Judy Taylor, Judy's son, Richard, and Judy's new boyfriend, Barry Bickford. Judy and Janis's brother were separated. Barry had unofficially taken over some of the household duties, including picking Janis up from school, at least until the day she vanished. January 9th, 1968. The snow was beginning to fall. Janis stood on the curb outside school, clutching her books, waiting. Barry was supposed to pick her up, but he claimed she wasn't there when he arrived. He returned to the trailer alone. Hours passed, no Janis. At 12:21 a.m., Judy picked up the phone and called the police. That was the last confirmed moment anyone ever looked for Janis while the trail was still warm. In the days that followed, friends and family were baffled. Janis didn't have enemies. She didn't have a boyfriend, didn't party, didn't act impulsively. But what she did have were concerns. According to relatives, Janis had recently confided that she'd seen bruises on her 2-year-old nephew, Richard, and she believed Barry might be responsible. She never said it directly, but the way she described it, the fear in her voice, it lingered. Then, 1 month later, it happened. February 1968. 2-year-old Richard was rushed to the hospital. He didn't make it. The cause of death? Blunt force trauma to the abdomen. The medical examiner ruled it a homicide. And just like that, Janis's warning became a haunting echo. Police questioned Barry Bickford, the only adult male consistently around the child. He eventually pled guilty to second-degree manslaughter and served time. But as for Janis, she was still missing. And now a chilling new theory took root. Did Janis know too much? The investigation into Janis's disappearance stalled almost immediately. Why? Because there were no witnesses, no crime scene, no body. She simply vanished. Barry told police he arrived at the school and couldn't find her, but school records showed Janis had attended her classes that day. So what happened in between the last bell and the moment she was supposed to be picked up? Investigators explored the theory that Janis may have run away, but those who knew her dismissed it quickly. She left behind her clothes, her savings, her entire life. This wasn't rebellion, it was something else. And yet, despite the connection between Barry and the two tragedies, the law never moved forward on Janis's case. With no body and no direct evidence, suspicion wasn't enough. Barry never faced charges related to Janis's disappearance. Janis was young, but observant and protective. If she believed a child was in danger, she might have been preparing to tell someone. In abusive households, it's not uncommon for whistleblowers to become targets themselves, especially when the abuser feels the walls closing in. Barry, facing the possibility of exposure, may have seen Janis as a threat. A quiet one, but a real one. And Janis, caught between loyalty to her family and fear of what she might uncover, may have been walking a razor-thin line. It's possible she never even made it out of the school parking lot that day. Her older brother, the father of Richard, has long believed Barry was involved in both tragedies. But without new evidence, the case remains suspended in time. Over 50 years have passed. Janis's father died never knowing what happened to his daughter. One of her brothers has since passed too. Her mother, now elderly, still wonders if she'll ever get answers. The official case file is still open, but ice cold. Janis would be in her 70s today, but in the hearts of those who remember her, she's still that quiet, horse-loving teenager standing in the snow, waiting for a ride that never came. This case may be unsolved, but it's not forgotten. If you found this story important, consider like, comment, and subscribe.